What's up, y'all? It's a long-awaited video, at least for me. Today I'm finally going to be doing something about the dreaded Roush heat soak issue. So, everything I'm going to be installing right here. First, we got the new massive heat exchanger from Department of Boost. It's their super single with the 1-inch lines. Then I also got a P&R ice tank right here. I got upgraded 7-gallon one, and I'm also going with a Pierburg CWA 400 pump. So this is a very powerful pump out of some BMWs that they actually use for a radiator pump. And because that pump is so strong, I have a little pump controller that's going to be going right underneath the radio and a bracket that I've 3D printed so it'll just pop right in. We're running full 1-inch lines except to the back of the Roush blower, which is 3/4, so it's only going to taper down at the back of the blower. And then I have all my lines, fittings, elbows, clamps, some more up there. Wires, I'm going to do that last. But, I mean, first things first, all we really got to do is pull apart the old Roush setup. So we got to pull off the bumper, disconnect all the lines, old heat exchanger, old pump, because that's all going to get replaced with this behemoth of a setup. So yeah, let's get to it. All right. So I just spent about, I don't know, 30 minutes-ish trying to take off the bumper. Now we have full access to this right here, which is the stock Roush heat exchanger. And I'll just compare it when I take it off. But yeah, I'll compare all the parts when I'm taking it off. But anyway, this is it. This thing is going to be coming out finally. I'm so excited. And right now it's really just going to be, oh, we have to pull off the intake so we can access the hoses that go to the back for where it actually connects to the thing. So now we are going to, I don't know where to start. We're going to pull off the Roush system. So I think, oh, I'm gonna turn on the pump and see if that helps anything. Hold. All right, that has more flow than I thought it did. Okay, stock heat exchangers out. Compared to the Department of Boost one, yeah, it's big. So, plus we're going from 3/4-inch lines to 1-inch lines, so definitely a lot more flow. So now I'm just going to take off the intake and just pull everything else out. Alright, so we just got the all the old system taken out. This is everything. This is the current pump right here, and I'll show you later how much bigger the other one is compared to that. But this is much smaller than what we're about to put on, and this piece right here is the reservoir that came with the Roush kit, and that's being replaced with the 7-gallon ice tank. So I don't have to run ice with it, but it can. But we just took a bunch of time getting the Department of Boost heat exchanger put in, so we'll have the return out right here, and then the supercharger will connect down to the bottom right here. We got all the brackets put in. Ignore the washers as spacers, but yeah, this is put in right now. So probably what I'm going to start doing next is stop what I'm doing right here and make my way to the back and start getting the trunk setup all put together. And then I'll start drilling holes, running lines, getting fittings. And probably the last thing I'm going to do is I originally was going to connect the 3/4-inch reducers to the back of the supercharger right there. But that is starting to look like it's really hard to get to, so I might just connect it right here. So it's the same 3/4 inch. I don't think it's gonna harm flow too much because it's still 3/4 of an inch. But yeah, we're just gonna do that instead. It'll be a lot easier. But other than that, that's pretty much it so far. I'll just update you along the way. Okay, so far I have this mocked up. It's not mounted in yet, but I have both the holes drilled, and I've got this, the first, this is gonna be the return line. I have that kind of fitted up and where it's gonna be sticking out underneath. This will be the feed. I still have to drill the hole for the drain, and then I have another grommet for all the wires for the pump. And then I'm still gonna have to route the pump wires inside, so I still gotta tear apart the inside. So still got all that to do. Right now I'm gonna start routing some hoses. So here's the big roll of it. So now I'm just gonna get underneath, and I'll get back to you when I figure out where everything's gonna go. All right, guys, I guess a common theme of my installs is always installing very hard parts. But anyway, most people on these run a 3/4 inch line, but that's really only me. But I got a special heat exchanger that will support 1-inch lines, so of course I got 1-inch lines. Yeah, they're thick. They are thick boys. But the hardest part was routing them, so I'm going to show you the route. So right now we're in the passenger side of the, this is where the holes I drilled on the tank. So we got the one sticking out right now, that's going to be the return line, and then that other black grommet is going to be the feed. I haven't finished that one yet. This hose right here is the return line. I have that all connected to the heat exchange already. And then right below it, so if I bend it up, you can see the, this is the feed line, the one I'm touching right here. And then they go over the independent rear suspension, both of them right there, which is very tight fit. Like it barely fits them both. And then if you look right above the axle where that little white stripe is, and then to the left of it is the other one. So both of them are right there. So it's cleared from all moving suspension parts and the axle, which is good. Then you look on the other side, you kind of get a better view of both of them right there. So I have them routed over. And then they come over this little bar right here of the independent rear suspension. And then they both pop out right here. You can kind of see it. I have the return line kind of, I pushed it up in between the frame and the gas tank because that's like the best I could fit it. And then in the gap between the frame and the gas tank, I put the feed line. So the return line is this one that's draped down right now. I still have to route it all up. I'll probably trim it up there since I have it so tight up here. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got going on for this one. And I'm just gonna zip tie it along this frame rail right here and then kind of up and over where I had it already originally. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the feed line. I'm just gonna run it and then I'll show you once I actually get to where I'm connecting those. All right, y'all, sorry about not filming the rest of that install. It just, I was working until about midnight finishing it up and I just wanted to get it done. But anyway, I already showed y'all the routing and how it went, and how it's working. So right now I've just been testing it all day today, and so far with no ice, just the tank itself, it still gets pretty hot, like 20, 30 over ambient. And keep in mind that's like on a 93-degree day, so it's right on the border of cutting timing and not. And then with ice, the 7-gallon tank can take about 5 bags of 7-pound ice bags, and that brings it to like 5 to 10 over ambient, and that's in the Roush kit, so that's actually really good. And one thing I noticed is it actually gets colder when you get on the gas. Without ice, or I mean without airflow, the intake, the IAT2s, they have no air to hit the sensor, so it's just gonna get hot. So that makes sense that it gets colder when you go on gas. So that was worrying me at first, but then I kind of realized what was going on. Let's see. After that, I don't know if I showed y'all the pump controller. So I can control the speed of the pump down here. So my plan is to, if I want to go do a run, I'll run the tank at like 10%, so just enough to keep the supercharger like what it needs. And then I'm going to turn that down. And then when I actually go do the run, I will bump it up to 100% so the full ice water is running through. So I'm keeping the temperature down. So that's kind of what I'm going to be doing. So this kind of really fixed kind of one of the biggest issues I've had with this supercharger. What else? Really, this is like the cheaper way of going with like an interchiller, where like connecting your AC to the intercooler and having that whole system work. So this is like the next best thing, and I'd rather pay $10 for ice every now and then than like whatever it is, like $3,000 for an interchiller. So I think this works really well. The pump is working great. No leaks so far. Works great. Controller is good. The pumps, I could hear it, but it's not that loud. So now I'm ready to load up a aftermarket tune and install some headers that I have. So I got a deal on some stainless power headers from Lethal Performance. So I just bought those just to make use of the deal. I don't have the tune yet, so I can't install it yet, but I'll be able to use my N gauge that I got, that I showed y'all last video, and be able to put everything together. So that'll probably be the next video, unless I do some more stuff testing with the ice tank or time comparisons or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this whole install. It's been 5 weeks waiting for parts, but now everything finally came together and I was able to actually get everything working. So really happy about that. But other than that, that's really it. And thank y'all for watching.
Okay, so I've been a little lazy with uploading this video, mainly just because of time constraints, but since I've been waiting, I have added a new little mod, and I'll put up a picture right now. So basically what you're looking at is a heat exchanger bypass valve. So what this does is, so also what I did during this little install is I changed the feed from the pump to go into the heat exchanger first. So that means, so the feed coming from the pump is now going into this valve that you see right here, the big bronze thing. And when the valve is off, it's going to direct the water up and over into the heat exchanger. And then on the other side, there's a T. And basically it'll just go out of the heat exchanger into the back of the supercharger and then back into the tank. Next thing is whenever I turn on the switch in the cabin, it will change the valve so it won't even go through the heat exchanger. It'll just go down to that little pipe that's down there on the bottom, and that will completely pass up the heat exchanger, so the heat exchanger bypass valve. So it'll just go straight past into the T, into the back of the supercharger. And the reason I did this is whenever I'm running ice, the heat exchanger would heat up the ice water and it would melt so much faster. In fact, whenever I tested it first, which I think was like the last clip of this, it lasted like a hit or like 5 minutes or something like that. Now we're running with ice with the valve open, so the heat exchanger is not being used. It lasted like 20, almost 30 minutes. So that's pretty good. And then I'm also feathering the pump speed, so I'm only turning it on full speed whenever I'm gonna do it, like do a hit, and then I turn it down to like 10% or something really low, so it's not pushing that much water when I don't need it. But other than that, that's pretty much all I've done for this. I've also been debating going with a killer chiller, and I'd preferably do that eventually because that's really the only thing that will help this blower work really well. But for the time being, I just wanted to make this kit or this system right here as best as I can, or make it work as best as I can. So I'm just gonna leave it like this for now. Just focus on other things, and then if this really becomes an issue, which I think it should be fine for now, but for now, just I'll leave it like this and rock with this. And yeah, that's it. Sorry this took forever to post. Also, since not recording, I've also already installed headers. I'm going to make another video on that. That's probably next. And then I'll probably do another video about the tune, just so I can kind of do two. So I'll do like another sound clip or whatever. I'll get to that. But anyway, thank you for watching. This has been a whole thing of trial and error, seeing what works. I've really just been learning as I go, and it's funny because this whole project per se never even started with an ice tank, so it's progressed so much as I've gone. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.